Hey guys, Boss and Ramos, and this Sunday the Miami Dolphins will be traveling to Cleveland to face against the Browns. And this game unfortunately was flexed out of Sunday Night Football. It was originally scheduled for Sunday Night Football, and unfortunately has been flexed out. More so to do with the fact that both teams are below 500. They wanted to put a little bit more entertainment value and a little bit more playoff implications between the two teams that were facing off in this Sunday Night Football matchup. I don't blame them. It just sucks as a fan. I was looking forward to being, just waiting all day for a Sunday night, right? But unfortunately, yeah, this Dolphins team got flexed out of this matchup at 7-8. Can't really blame them, but it's more so the catalyst of the Cleveland Browns being 3-12 and losing 4 of their last matchups. So not really a big draw there by the Cleveland Browns. It would have been interesting, but it is what it is. Otherwise, it's just it sucks as a fan. You look forward to these primetime matchups, and then when they're taken away from you, it kind of stings a bit. But that's neither here or there. This matchup will be on December 29th at 4:05 p.m. Eastern, and the game will be broadcasted on CBS. So it should be an interesting watch, and hopefully Miami Dolphins get a win. So let's talk about it. How can this Miami Dolphins team get a win with this game preview video? Well, Dolphins will have a little bit more answers towards their playoff hopes come Saturday night, because the Los Angeles Chargers are playing the Patriots and the Denver Broncos are playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Can the Patriots play spoiler and mess up the Chargers a bit? Doubt it. Can the Bengals play spoiler and mess up the Broncos a bit? I think so, and that could be Miami's ticket in. Dolphins need the Broncos to lose a game. Dolphins also need to win out. That is the most important part. Dolphins need to handle their business, and hopefully everything follows suit. So that is the Dolphins' hope. Let's hope it comes to fruition, and it is what it is. Like with every post-game preview video, we'll talk about some gambling lines, Dolphins odds to win, and injuries, and then talk about the keys to victory. So let's start off with the first one. We got the gambling lines here. Miami Dolphins are favored by 6.5 points. Meanwhile, the over/under is at 37.5. That's pretty freaking low, but we'll talk about why in a bit. Then money line is favoring the Miami Dolphins at minus 290. Meanwhile, money line for the Cleveland Browns is at plus 240. And then let's look at ESPN's match predictor. They have the Dolphins at a 68.3% chance of winning to the Cleveland Browns 31.4%. And then game time weather looking like 57 degrees with bits of rain. Not sure how much rain, but it seems like it's going to be a bit. So that's something to be on the lookout for. That's more than likely why this over-under is so dang low. It is also to the fact that the Browns haven't been able to put up a lot of points as of late. Arguably say the same thing for the Miami Dolphins. So not so much high expectations for both of these teams heading into this matchup. But let's talk about some injuries. There's quite a bit for both teams. We'll start with the Dolphins since they are the away team. Jordan Poyer, safety, is questionable with a knee/finger injury. Kendall Fuller, cornerback, is out with a knee injury. All these guys I'm about to rattle off are listed as questionable. D. Eskridge, wide receiver, with a knee injury. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, with a knee injury. Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, with a hip injury. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver, with a wrist injury. And you also can add Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, to that list. And then guys who are confirmed out are Anthony Walker Jr., linebacker. He's out with a knee injury. Same for Blake Ferguson, long snapper. He's out with an illness. And then Bradley Chubb, linebacker, is out with a knee injury. Now, when we look at the Cleveland Browns, they got quite the list of injuries, and I'm going to go as far back as the beginning of December for these injury reports. We got Ogbo Akaronko, defensive end. He's out with a knee injury. Jameis Winston, quarterback, is questionable for shoulder injury. He got benched for DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson last week. Did not go well for DTR, I'll tell you that. Cedric Tillman, wide receiver, is out with a concussion. David Njoku, tight end, is out with a knee injury. Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, is questionable for knee/shin injury. Jermaine Ifedetti, guard, is questionable. Shelby Harris, the defensive tackle, is on injured reserve for elbow injury. Martin Emerson Jr., cornerback, is listed as questionable. We also have Nick Chubb, running back, on injured reserve for foot injury. Greg Newsom, the second cornerback, is on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, is on injured reserve with a neck injury. Maurice Hurst, the second defensive tackle, is on injured reserve with an ankle injury. Jedrick Willis Jr., offensive tackle, is on injured reserve with a knee injury, and that is pretty much as far back as we can go with December. So lots and lots of injuries for the Cleveland Browns team. Now, heading into this matchup, Dolphins have been pretty sporadic. They've won, lost, and won their last 5. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns got a surprising win against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football, but have lost 4 straight since. So tough look for the Cleveland Browns here, but it's kind of the way their season has been trending. It just never got off to a good start. Then the injuries started to pile up, and lots and lots of questions surrounding their very expensive quarterback, which I think was a big draw for this matchup to be a Sunday Night Football matchup. And originally, you have Tua facing the Cleveland Browns, a.k.a. Deshaun Watson, and in years past, before Deshaun Watson was dealt to Cleveland, Dolphins were a major talking point in terms of a team that should probably make that move. And I think they were going to gear it up towards that type of conversation. Obviously, Deshaun Watson gets hurt early on this season, and Tua has been relatively well since all these trade rumors started to begin. So, hey, I think the Dolphins won out in not making that move. But let's keep it moving towards this game preview. And what I want to say with that is our keys to victory. Now, before I get into that, I want to talk about DTR's performance last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. In his first start this season, he went 20 of 34, 157 yards, 2 interceptions, and was sacked 5 times for a loss of 32 yards. And then when we continue on, we can see that, it was not the best day of DTR career, but hey, he also got some good running yards. He had 9 carries for 49 total yards, so not a bad day on the ground for him, but overall just not great and not what he would have liked to do against this Cincinnati Bengals team, but they wanted it more. They're fighting for the playoff spot just like the Miami Dolphins, so you hope that the Dolphins would come out and come correct. So, why did I mention DTR stats from last game? If I see a similar stat line by DTR come 8 o'clock Sunday night, I will be very ecstatic, because that's what this Dolphins defense should go out and do to a Cleveland Browns team with no Deshaun Watson, with no Jameis Winston, with no Nick Chubb, with no freaking, Amari Cooper got traded in the middle of the season. Like, Jerry Jeudy might not play. Like, David Njoku's out. Like, this Cleveland Browns team is pretty much down to their wits, and they need to make some changes. And unfortunately, the season can't end sooner enough for them. So getting to the quarterback is my first key to victory. If you can put lots and lots of pressure on DTR and make him, get sacked, have errant throws that turn into interceptions, kudos, Miami Dolphins defense. You did your job. You made a young, inexperienced quarterback struggle, and that's exactly what a good defense, like I think the Miami Dolphins defense is, should be able to do. Now, on the flip side, on the offensive side of the ball, I say this almost each and every week, these 2 keys to victory, but it's tried and true. Get to the quarterback on the other team and run the football. The Miami Dolphins need to run the football in this type of weather, because guess what? You're going to be playing in this type of weather should it come to going into the playoffs, and you're going to be facing the only other team that has a dome stadium is the Houston Texans in the playoffs right now for the AFC. So good luck finding a playoff matchup anywhere else. But yeah, so hopefully Miami Dolphins can get in the dance, but you have to be experienced with running the football, and this Miami Dolphins team has struggled to do that pretty much all season long. Now, let's continue on with our third key to victory, and regardless of who's out there at wide receiver, whether Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are there or not there, or vice versa, who's in and who's out, got to come through with these big time catches. Tyreek Hill dropped arguably 2 touchdowns against the San Francisco 49ers last week. And honestly, you can't be having that this late into the year when you've already been having a bad year. Things can't continue to pile up in a bad manner that way. Fortunately, the Dolphins were bailed out by Devon Achane's game-sealing run last week, but they could have been in very big jeopardy of losing that game to San Francisco 49ers had it not been for Achane's game-sealing run. So, I think getting the DTR, running the football efficiently, and last but not least, just converting on a lot of these passes. Not too many drop balls, not too many completions. I think the Dolphins can have a very successful afternoon in Cleveland, Ohio. That pretty much wraps up this game preview video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's, it could be all for naught if the Miami Dolphins see that the Broncos win against the Bengals, which rooting for the Bengals. Let's hope they win. But the Dolphins also do need the Colts to lose as well. So some of the playoff factors like that, if the Broncos lose out, if the Colts lose one, I think the Chargers as well, if they lose out, those are the ways that this Dolphins team can get in. But it will be a tough shot, and just cross my fingers, hoping they do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you after the game in the post-game video. Thank you very much. I'll catch you later.